Well, Robin and Marsha Williams did the exact opposite. They leaned in, they showed up, they were there in the hospital after Dad had his accident.
Guys, I was an emotional mess watching this afterwards. Like, it's just, did you all have a chat beforehand about, what you were going to talk about, or was it just, look, let's see what comes out?
So we agreed when we decided to embark on this project and sort of decided to get involved. We agreed to hand over our home movies, our archived footage, and to each give an interview. And we really discussed that in our interviews we would give ourselves. We would tell the stories we'd never told. We'd share the memories we'd never shared before. But we each sat like separately at different times, and none of us were really aware of what the other had said in the interviews. And so it wasn't until we all sat together and watched a pretty near complete rough cut about a week before it was sent into the Sundance Film Festival. And we sat together and we all saw it sort of for the first time that we really kind of got to hear each other talk about our shared experiences.
Wow, so you basically then had a front row seat as well as us at it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, is it nice to see him back on the big screen again? To see that.
So, so nice to see him back on the big screen again. Not enough documentaries get released in movie theaters, let alone movie theaters around the world. And so we feel particularly honored that that's the distribution route that the filmmakers went with, because we know our dad would be incredibly proud to be back up on the big screen again for audiences around the world.
Will, can I ask you about, when people get to know, like when they meet you at first, is it always strange that they start telling you what they know about your dad?
Yeah. No,
Is that
that's a phenomenon that has persisted for most of my life.
Mm.
And I'm always flattered and appreciative. I've yet to have someone approach me or message me saying, you know what, your dad was a real jerk, and here's a story about the time that I didn't like him. Quite the contrary. All the interactions I have about both of my parents are about what impact they had on a stranger's life, really. And that means so much. And I take that very seriously. And I'm flattered and honored and humbled to be just a part of this family and to be one representative of the family. And so anytime that I get the chance to talk to anybody about my folks, it's a gift for me because that brings them back into the present. And so this film has been the ultimate gift because it brings them back into the present and hopefully carries them forward into the future as people either re-engage with or learn for the first time about this story.
the one thing that I'm loving is everyone finding out about the relationship with Robin. Is that a surprise to you that it's a surprise to everyone else? Because online people are like, what? How did this? Because everyone has a friend where there's a messer and there's a guy who's kind of not as much as a messer, but I'm like that with me. So I have a friend who's a messer, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the only thing that we have in common. Is that strange?
I love that people are connecting with it and knowing about this, but it's not that surprising because they knew each other way before they were famous when they were still acting students in the master's program at Juilliard, which is the leading drama school in the US. And then they rode this rocket ship to stardom at around about the same time. But for them, it wasn't about being out and being public together. I think they only actually did a handful of events where they were both on stage. For a lot of it, it was about that quiet friendship behind the scenes. Well, with Robin, not always quiet, but non-public friendship behind the scenes. Really a brotherhood that lasted through the years and continues to this day. We remain very close to Marsha Williams and to Robin's children. But I love that they captured it. And I also love they captured this incredible thing about that friendship, which is, when someone it suffers a hard time in their life, often as a friend, you find yourself kind of pulling back. You don't want to bother them. You think, oh, maybe they're too busy. Well, Robin and Marsha Williams did the exact opposite. They leaned in, they showed up, they were there in the hospital after Dad had his accident, but also in all the weeks and months after. They were the ones that kept calling and picking up the phone. And it really showed what it is to be there for someone, what it is to have that human connection and just show up for the people that you love in your life.
Have you all had a moment to reflect since it's been completed? Like, has there been a moment where you're like, okay, I need to relax now for 30 seconds because it's bringing up so many memories and like posters and all that. Like, it must be mad.
I guess. I mean, it's an honor to, like I said before, to be associated with this family. I'm just very proud to be one of three, excuse me, one of three siblings and be my parents' son. So to be out there spreading the message about what this film is and what I hope it means to people is an honor. And to answer your question specifically, no, I haven't had a moment to reflect, but I do it in real time. I'm like reflecting right now, and it's all good.
I'd say it's just been more thrilling seeing the response and the reaction.
Yeah.
I mean, just everywhere we've gone from, its initial screening at Sundance to other festivals throughout the summer to the premiere in New York a couple weeks ago to it was just released in Italy. It's just been amazing to see people all around the world connect with the film in some way, whether they're Superman fans or not, or whether they've had a disability or not. Everyone's been able to sort of connect on a human level because it's a human story, whether they've gone through a divorce or they have a tough relationship with a parent or can relate to the friendship with someone that we just talked about. So it has just been amazing to see the response and what the film has meant to them and the emotional impact that it's left.
Um, I think no matter where you go around the world, you'll always see the Superman sign. Has that been weird for you guys growing up? Like no matter where you are in the world, there's someone wearing a t-shirt, there's a tattoo, and it is your dad. Like he is and always will be the Superman. Do you ever get surprised when you see it in places going, hang on, how the hell is that? Did it get this far?
I think it's so cool.
It's so
Yeah.
cool. I mean, we're proud of the legacy. Dad often referred to himself as a custodian of the park, right? This is a character that predated him, and he got to add new life and new humanity to it. We think he did a phenomenal job. But I love that people connect with kind of the traits that make Superman a true superhero. And that our dad gets to be associated with that for the rest of time, including to the new generation who are watching this film today.
I always wonder because I live in New York and I see people wearing Superman t-shirts all the time. And like you said, it's kind of around the world. And I never have done this and I never will like go up to someone and be like, hey, I see your shirt. Let me tell you a fun fact, right?
Yeah.
It's not
So
not how I was
good.
raised. But I always wonder how that would go. Like what do they have any sense um of like just I don't know. I always think that it would be kind of funny, but I would never do it. But it's an honor that anyone cares even a little bit about our family. So
Have you dared to wear it yourselves? Like, has there ever been? Because I'm sure people would latch onto that straight away, going, "Oh, hang on."
They may make a documentary 30 years later and feature you in it. So Matthew
Yeah.
in the documentary is there
Superman.
wearing a
Superman.
little cape around his neck. But that may have been the last time any of us were actually in Superman gear.
Yeah.
ourselves.
Yeah.
I told my mom I was doing this, and she told me when I was 4, I had a blue towel, and I used to jump around pretending to be your dad. So
there you go.
Amazing. We love
Thank
it.
you.
So nice to meet you.
thanks so much, guys. Okay, all the best.
Bye-bye.